we told you about this incident with Harper Murray. Last week, Nebraska volleyball was in Chicago at the Big Ten Media Days. And Harper Murray went early ahead of the contingent from Nebraska, went early to visit friends in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
She has a story to tell, and she first shared this on her TikTok. And this, the first I heard of it was last night. So this is what happened. And Peter, you can chime in when I'm done telling this story, because you brought up a point that adds to the story that I'm about to explain. So Harper Murray went to Chicago a few days ahead of her teammates for Big Ten Media Days. When she got to Chicago, there were two men that were waiting for her. They had photos of Harper Murray that they wanted signed, and then they asked for multiple selfies with her. Harper goes on to say that, and anybody that follows, really anybody on the Nebraska volleyball team, they're very active on social media. They share a lot of their life. Maybe not a ton of stuff, but they kind of give you behind the scenes of what it's like to be a volleyball player in Nebraska, and all the things that go into it. But they're very active on social media. And Harper is one of those. I mean, you could follow her all summer, and she regularly posts. And she said that I did not post that I would be in Chicago 3 days earlier than I was supposed to be. My flight was actually delayed out of Lincoln by 5 hours. When I was signing the photos, could she have just said no?
So
she was probably by herself.
See, and that's the part. So for me initially, and again, I'm viewing this through the lens of a 6'3", 202 much pounds, 34-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm viewing it through the lens of just say no and leave or something. But through the lens of a 20-year-old woman, and there's two strange men waiting for you, I understand the fear and the just sign this and get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely understand that. And I think that's more of where she was.
So this is where it kind of gets creepy. Now, it's creepy to begin with. Harper goes on to say, when I was signing the photos, the two men apologized for me having a bad travel day and how much of a horrible delay it was. They knew my exact flight number, which is a little weird. She then goes on to say, of course, I ended up signing the pictures and taking the pictures because I didn't know what else to do. I was scared. She said she spoke to Livy Dunn, who has had something like this happen as well. They have no idea how these men know what flight they're on, but we do know that it's happened to Gabby Thomas at the Chicago airport as well.
And to all of them just at the Chicago airport.
So Harper finishes her video on TikTok by saying, if you're one of the guys that asked me to sign a photo, you're weird. Stop stalking me. There was somebody that just got sentenced to prison that was stalking Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling this story to both of you guys off air. And you brought something up, Peter, that this happens to professional wrestlers.
Very common. And they are traveling pretty consistently because they do weekly shows year round, and constantly landing. And I don't know all the ins and outs of how they do travel within that industry and how they book certain flights. I know that a lot of them travel in like little groups usually, but they're pretty consistently greeted by these people that have just tons of memorabilia and photos
at the airport,
at the gates, as soon as they get off the plane. It's very strange. I don't know how really to put a stop to something like that exactly, but clearly some info is getting out from someone that shouldn't be sharing details like this with the public.
So if that's the case, somebody at the airport or airline has access to the manifest of the flight, of who's on the flight. that they share those details with the collectors or creepy men that confronted Harper Murray in Chicago.
They're getting access to here's who is on this flight. This is what the flight is, and this is when it's getting here.
So it's either the airport, somebody that works at this, and I'm not sure if this is Midway or O'Hare, that works at the airport or works for the airline. I don't know if you work at O'Hare, unless you're like on the ground crew, would you have access to the manifest of who's on that flight? Because this is kind of scary, almost to the point, and we saw after the incident with Wisconsin where the pictures were released on, to the public, that they got hacked. Wisconsin travels with a police officer, Wisconsin, a University of Wisconsin, Madison police officer who does not leave, like you see in college football, we see more often the traveling state trooper, or Nebraska has, most times they're in street clothes, but it'll be who the chief of police is for the campus police, and they are with Rule at all times. And they kind of blend in on the sidelines. Where in the South, that's part of the South, you see the state trooper who will run on the field with the coach, who will be right there by their side. For the longest time, I remember when I was a kid, Iowa, Hayden Fry had an Iowa state trooper who was his personal security. I don't know this. Nebraska volleyball does not travel with their own security, do they?
I don't believe, but also I don't think they're flying. Like they're taking the private plane, aren't
But now I'm looking once they're on the ground.
Oh yeah, once they're on the ground.
Okay, because this is really, really creepy.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
That is the one thing. Like within all of this, you can try to find where exactly are they getting it, what are the processes they're going through. But at the end of the day, it's creepy and gross. It's disgusting, and people should not be doing it. And you shouldn't have to be worrying about, no matter how famous or the face of a program you are, or attractive or anything like that. You shouldn't have to, at the end of the day, worry about, am I traveling with enough security to go visit friends in another city?
Pat, whose daughter recently completed her eligibility at Nebraska playing volleyball, said yes, they do travel with security.
Good.
That's good.
But she said, she was going out a little bit early. So that's
by
not
herself.
So that's not the main travel party.
JD says, as a veteran of working for an airline, he no longer works for it. Any airline employee, regardless of location, can log in and see the passenger list of every flight they work for.
That seems like the likeliest.
So this is an inside
scenario.
job with young female athletes and collectors.
I'm sure there's some sort of payment going on, like, hey, give me this info and I'll.
But think about this. This is where this is really, really odd and kind of scary. Is if she didn't let anybody know that I'm going early to Chicago, was she flagged by this person of, hey, we're looking to get Harper Murray's autograph? Because did Nebraska fly privately to Chicago for the Big Ten Media Days, or do they fly commercial?
They probably flew privately.
That's what I would think.
But she probably flew commercial to get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Played on her own dime.
Yeah. So you probably have, they're running every single list of passengers through AI to see what flags. And they probably have a master list of, here are the people we want to corner and get autographs from.
So Harper Murray has a stalker. That's
easily. That's it. Yeah.
That's stalking.
Couple of tweets here. Brian, who is in the wrestling business, we even get stalked sometimes on the independent level, but it happens in WWE more than we know. It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's.
Why are wrestlers flying commercial?
I've always wondered. I could research it and look into it more, but I've never understood the travel dynamics of it. But they are flying commercial to all these shows, and nobody really flies on the same schedule. But maybe they need to start getting something in-house to avoid this stuff.
Andrew says if it keeps happening in Chicago, it'd have to be a worker at the airline. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out if they do an investigation.
Well, and I think they should. It's happened to not just the fact that it's happening to anybody. Like that alone is creepy and gross. But you have people who are very high profile talking about this happening to them. When those things happen, that tends to speed up a process. You know, has a process even begun in Chicago at whichever airport it is with whatever airline it is? That should be happening yesterday, not coming up.
But no incident happened other than this is really, really odd. Yeah, I don't know if as a young female by yourself, let me just sign, I'll take pictures. You two are really odd and creepy, and we're just going to keep it moving.
Well, that's for Harper, it's immediately, I'm going to sign these and just try to get out of here.
Well, I hope this, because it's now, she's mentioned she's the third different female, fairly high profile athlete, because Harper Murray is well known.
Yeah.
That has had this happen in Chicago. Yeah, I think it's time to start looking into this.
Yeah.